you can see behind us, yeah, we are live. And you'll see behind us, we are in two separate setups because we have two different rooms here at Axpona. And we're really excited to see a bunch of you over the next few days.
That's right. We're actually adjacent to each other here. And, we got some potential guests popping in virtually, maybe in person, folks that have been with us before and maybe a new face or two. And for anyone who is joining on YouTube, thank you. I know it's a little bit later. We had a little streaming issue, but we're back online now. And to everyone who has joined us before, welcome. And whoever is here for the first time, we're going to have 3 awesome giveaways today. And Larry, how can you be eligible for those giveaways?
Well, the way you are eligible is you just comment, and you don't have to put in a zillion comments, and you don't have to say pick me, or anything like that. Just ask a question or say hello, tell us where you're from, your favorite song, something like that to demo. And we have 3 giveaways we're going to do about every 20 minutes during the broadcast.
Excellent. Keep going. That's right. One comment gets you 1 entry. We'll announce you live on the air, and then our colleague Vince will reach out, get your shipping information, and we will have your prize sent out within the next 24 hours or so. We're been setting up all day, so this is not the normal, like chilling at home, getting ready for this. There's a lot of variables at play, but we got the stream working well, and we have some pretty killer systems for anyone who is coming to Schaumburg this weekend. Larry, why don't you walk through what you have in your room first, and then we'll do some other housekeeping.
Well, do you want to do the giveaways first, or do you want me to show what's in here? Because we hinted
Let's do the giveaways first. We got to stick with tradition here. Sorry.
Yeah, so
a little disorienting.
As we mentioned, every 20 minutes or so, we're going to have a giveaway. And the first one we're going to start with is going to be an SB1000 Pro subwoofer. Then after that will be a pair of Prime Wireless Pro powered bookshelf speakers. And then rounding out the night is going to be a 3000 micro subwoofer. So we have 3 fantastic prizes for you guys tonight to watch virtually. And on top of that, we've got some cool stuff to show you because I don't think we've really shown the systems previously that we're doing. So it's pretty exciting. So I am in our theater room. Nick is in our 2-channel room. And in here, we have a full 5.2.2 home theater. So I'm going to try to do this. So don't mind the crummy camera work. I'm going to see what I can do here. So in this room, we are going to be setting up. I don't have a whole lot of length there. We have our new Ultra Evolution Titan towers. We are using for the front, left, and right, along with the Ultra Evolution Center. And up top, we have our Prime Elevation. Ultra Elevation. I still got to get used to saying that back there. And then in the back, we have the Ultra Evolution bookshelves. And then down here below me, we have the SB3000 in this corner, and over in the other corner by the other Titan, we have another SB3000. We are using a Denon 4700 to power this setup, and just 4K Blu-rays and Blu-ray discs for our content. So this room is all about theater. It will be packed all 3 days. And based on some of our neighbors, I don't think we're going to make a lot of fans with our neighbors.
I know. I think there's something like an $800,000 speaker system set up right across the hall from us. So they're going to be competing with us, but that's all right. It's all in friendly spirit. And I think we may not actually crank the subs as loud as we normally do because we have our own 2-channel room right next door, which is where I'm at. But before we talk about that, Larry, the calibration, you did some interesting settings on that room, which you said were first of their kind. Setting up the room, running all the Odyssey and everything.
I was super excited setting up the room today, and it's the first time I've done a system with the Titans. And the Titans, for me, have been a lot of fun to play with today, getting this room set up. And I did it fairly quickly. We run Odyssey. We don't do anything special. And then after we run Odyssey, I kind of adjust everything by ear. And normally we'll set the front stage, like if we were using, say, Prime Pinnacle in the past, or maybe the Ultra Towers up front, we would maybe set those around 60 hertz and whatever matching center channel, typically an Ultra line, to 60. And now we have the Evolution Titan and Evolution Center. I cross those over at 60 hertz. And then the bookshelves in the back, I would normally bump up a little bit. But these new Evolution, I crossed the rear surrounds with the Ultra Evolution bookshelves, also at 60 hertz. And then the Ultra Evolution, I always want to do this. The Ultra Elevation, for the first time, we have them cross all the way down at 60 hertz. And it is a magical speaker for height effects, because most height effects speakers, whether they're an in-ceiling or an on-wall, they're typically small, and you're normally crossing them over around 90 to 100 hertz or more. Typically an in-ceiling, you're probably about 110, 120 for most of the smaller ones. And these guys having them at 60 hertz, this room it's just magic. And I'm just sitting here and playing content and hearing things that we've never heard before. And then the two SB3000s, I've got them back down quite a bit. I think I had them around -22 in the app on each sub, and -3 or 4 in the receiver. For the most part, all the speaker channels are just flat. So this room was kind of fun to put together. I was listening to some of our content, and just the fact that I was able to cross everything down that low has completely changed everything. So, we've got the Ultra Evolution Titans in the front. Saw somebody asking what were in there. So that we have the new Titans in the front, the matching Ultra Evolution center. So that is the front stage. 2 SB3000 subwoofers, the new Ultra Evolution bookshelves for surrounds, and then the new Ultra Elevations for height effects. So it's a full 5.2.2 theater in this room. And I was just smiling. I was like, oh, this is awesome. And this is the system I'm probably going to be bringing home myself once we have the ability to start doing that, because we want you guys to get them before us.
Absolutely. And you a couple new pieces of demo content that we actually haven't had to play with yet, but I think we might have to try some after the broadcast wraps up here. Some classics, am I right?
Yeah, James Cameron has been working on remastering a lot of his content, and over the last, I guess about 3 weeks, a month ago, released True Lies, The Abyss, and Aliens in 4K remastered. And I haven't been able to pick up The Abyss yet, but did get the other two. And so we're going to try to play around with those over the weekend and kind of see how they sound as well.
Excellent. Well, I heard that Gary might be in the building. I've heard he's making his way up here now, so we will have the wonderful.
I'm going to tell him to go to your room.
Joining us here.
I only have one chair in here.
That's totally fine. Well, you can. You'll have to bust out another chair if we get a special guest or two. Yeah. So we have the one room that Larry just walked through, and actually this the second room here, the 2-channel room. This is where we have our flagship Ultra Evolution Pinnacle Tower speakers with some new front end equipment. And Larry, you hooked these up too. What can you tell us about the front end that we're running and how you got it all pieced together here today?
So the speakers we're running in that room, there's actually 2 different systems in the room there behind Nick. You can see the Ultra Evolution Pinnacle Towers. Those are the new flagship towers from us that just launched, 2 weeks ago? And they are going to be powered by an Emotiva 2-channel amplifier and preamp. And you'll see there on the top, there is a Cambridge audio piece. It's our first time using it. And we've been having quite a bit of fun with that today. I cannot remember the name of it because we're still brand new to it, but it's like a CX100 or 1000. I'll have Nick look that up in a second. So that's going to be the main system. And then there is a Soundbase Pro sitting next to the Cambridge piece on the top of that audio rack. And that is powering the Ultra Evolution bookshelves. And the way we set that up is the Cambridge head unit is the main source content that we're using. And that's where we're going to stream Cobas and Tidal and other content from. And then we're going from that output to the Emotiva piece. And that is our going to be our 2-channel for the towers. And then coming off of the Cambridge piece, I ran an optical connection to the Soundbase Pro. So we can actually play either and just go back and forth and let people hear both the new bookshelves and the new towers. And that was
and we have some new demo content for this one too that we're very excited to show off. But I did want people to offer in the comments, if you have tracks that you know of that are very high quality that would be phenomenal in stereo, list them out here. We have a drop connection so we can add to our playlist. And I would just love to know some suggestions for different tracks that will show off maybe the low frequency extension, maybe some dynamic range, different elements of sound that we can really show the best of these speakers with. But we do have a special random guest, and it's not Gary who just joined us. He just happened to mosey into this room. I believe you might have been here last time. Some of you might be familiar with Randy, also AKA Cheap Audio Man. Randy, how the heck are you?
I'm good, man.
How are you doing? Svelte too, by the way.
Thank you. It's I got dreadfully ill. I'm just kidding.
Well, that's never good. But hey, if
it works.
You're healthy now, and it resulted in some weight loss. You're good to go.
This is a very nice ironing board table that we're on today.
You're ruining the sleep.
I'm sorry.
They don't know the production value that goes into
Hey,
this.
that's the Wizard of Oz, man.
Yeah. We got to frame this up.
If you ever have to do a live stream, that's right. If you have to do a live stream and you're in a hotel, there is few things better than an ironing board because it's an adjustable height.
That's a really good idea.
I mean, I discovered this, through my many audio shows that I've done. And so this just happened to be the perfect solution. And you know what?
You live and you learn.
That's right. But welcome. Your travels were all in good today.
It's good. Yeah.
And are you here in an official capacity with any brands, or are you here to just check out what's cool?
No, I'm just here to check everything out.
And what are you excited about?
Excited about SVS, the Evolution is here. Is it the Eclipse or Evolution?
Evolution, baby. Pinnacle.
Did you see the Eclipse?
Of course we saw the Eclipse.
Talk about the Eclipse, yeah.
Were you in totality?
I was just watching your video yesterday, Randy, about the Eclipse and some of your Cambridge reviews because I needed to learn about that piece of gear we're using. I was literally just yesterday watching a couple of your videos.
Yeah, the CXN 100, right?
Yeah, that's what we're using right behind there. What were your sort of initial impressions on playing with that?
I liked it, man. I mean, it's super easy. You don't have to that's the beauty of Cambridge, right? Is they already tuned it for you. Mm-hmm. You don't need to mess with it. So super easy, super the Stream Magic app's really good. I like it. Rune endpoint, so it's awesome.
You got any demo content suggestions for us? Maybe a good 2-channel track?
Well, people
Gary's in the house.
Stole my idea, or the Tool track, Chocolate Chip Trip.
Okay.
So people still, I hear that at audio shows, which is nice because it's better than Diana Krall.
Well, you may hear it in our room. Yeah, we don't play Diana Krall or the Eagles.
Larry's right next door too. If you want to jump in camera and say hello, 3's a crowd, I think, for one camera, but I think 2 together is.
Yeah, let me get Gary in this room. 1 sec.
I think he might have to let you in.
"Throw Me Away" by Korn off of the MTV Unplugged.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a spectacular song. There's a bunch of percussion on that song. You can really hear how tight the bass is on a speaker.
All right, we're looking for something a little edgier. And
"Throw Me Away."
"Throw Me Away" by Korn.
Right. MTV Unplugged should be the last track on that record.
Okay.
Master of Puppets, of course. Not Master of Puppets. Harvester of Sorrow. The cymbals.
Okay.
Listen to the cymbals. That tells you how good your treble is. It's always good on the SVS speakers, the Ultras, the Primes, all the stuff.
Well, I feel like we need to say hi to Gary. I've never seen you look so short before there. Larry's dwarfing you, I think, because you're further away.
Well, Larry invited me to sit on his lap, but I thought it was inappropriate.
Well, we're happy to have you.
I literally just got off a plane. I'm in the dark with Larry. We're trying to light ourselves up.
Yeah.
We don't have much of a light. Here we are.
Yeah. Trying not to wash us out or anything, but I think it's brighter than what we're seeing on my end too.
So don't let me interrupt, but it's good to be with everyone.
So is the Cheap Audio Man doing any sort of live streaming or any sort of content here at the show, or is it just all listening?
I'm like Gary, man. I just got here, so no, I think we're just gonna do a couple of videos. And when I say we, I mean me. I'm gonna do a couple.
You and
of
your
videos.
production crew.
Me and the production crew, all the associate producers, which is me. I'm just gonna check things out, and I've got some awesome patrons that are probably watching this right now. We're going to hang out and meet up, and then I'm actually speaking on a panel tomorrow morning at 10:30.
Oh, give us some hype on the panel. What's it all
I have
about?
no idea. It's me. It's Zeos, and I think it's Lenny. So it's going to be like some YouTubers. They gave us the really good slot, the 10:30 a.m. on Friday morning, Friday slot when nobody's going to be here. So
who's moderating?
Bill.
Bill. Narrow that down. I mean, is it they didn't give you any sort of topic? Because I mean, I would love to hear you, Zeos, and Lenny on stage together, but I kind of want to get some context.
I think he's going to ask us about like how we started and what we do and what our methodology is, which I don't have one. So I just like listening to speakers and talking about them.
There you go.
That's about as complicated as it gets with me.
So 10:30 a.m. you said, and do you have a location on that, a ballroom number or something?
I don't know, man. It's where the classes are held.
All right. Yeah, that's right on the main
somewhere
floor.
here.
It's hard to miss that.
Yeah.
Well, glad they're running such a tight ship, and you know exactly where you're what you're supposed to be talking about.
This is how I approach my videos too. Yeah. I just kind of show up, and,
shoot from the hip.
Yeah, make some weird hand gestures, and then press record.
And will you do any of the extracurriculars here at Axpona?
Like what?
I mean, don't they have they have a live concert? I think they have like a mixer. They have things like that as well.
Yeah, well, I may, but I think I've got 20 to 30 of my patrons that are coming. So we're going to do a lot of meetups, eat some pizza. We got a couple little systems that we have together over at the hotel. So just hang out.
Very cool. Well, that's nice that are they all local? They all travel in here?
No, a lot of them are all across the country.
That's very cool. That
Pittsburgh, Raleigh. Of course, we got some Chicago folks here.
Yeah.
But yeah, Columbus, Ohio. So a lot of folks.
Very cool. Well, you're welcome to stick around. I mean, I'm so happy you were able to come by, and like, I don't want to put you on the spot. Yeah, we can bust out some questions. There's a lot of Ultra Evolution questions that have come up.
Anything that you've been watching too?
Say that again, Larry.
Anything Randy's been watching? We haven't gotten into any of that content. Is there anything
he's watching? Yeah, give us some watching recommendations, and Gary, you too. We haven't even done our normal recommendations.
You know, I tell you, I don't watch anything anymore because I literally work and like hang out with the family. But there is a show, I think it's a few years old. It's called Your Honor, and it's on Hulu, and it's Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
And it is, I could not stop watching it. My wife had it on, and I watched about 10 minutes of it, and I got hooked. But you wouldn't think like it's a drama, but you wouldn't think like the sound mixing would be as good as it is. And ironically, I had the Ultra Center and the Ultras up there, and I was in the kitchen, and I legit thought someone had driven into my backyard and was honking, and it was because of how good that was mixed. And then the Ultras, of course. And he didn't put me up to saying that. This is actually the truth.
So I mean, it's not like a very dynamic show in the sense where it's constant surround sound, but you get a moment like
no,
that.
Man, it's totally put stuff in space. So it's more dialogue driven, but the ambience is like, it'll surprise you like how well recorded and mixed that show is.
That's cool.
Very cool. And Larry, I know you had an opportunity to check something out. What do you got for us?
Yeah, this weekend, my oldest son and I, we went to the local Dolby Cinema and saw Monkey Man. And if you haven't heard of that, the best way to describe it is Bloodsport with John Wick. And it stars Dev Patel, and he wrote and directed it. And it was produced by Jordan Peele. And it was a really fun movie. We need more movies like that. And we watched The Eclipse, Monday afternoon, which was quite a bit of fun. We live in 100% totality, so it was kind of cool to experience that. And just been watching a lot of NBA basketball because we're getting towards the end of the season here. So I'm ready for playoffs.
How realistic are the sneaker squeaks through the new SVS speaker?
Oh man, we are having fun with them. That is for sure. We're gonna be playing content we don't typically play too.
It's so realistic. Kyrie Irving broke Larry's ankles the other night.
Yes.
On a crossover.
How old is Larry?
New tennis shoe.
That's a good question. He's 40s.
40s. So
I am 45. I turned 46 this year.
Nice. So you remember like back in the day, like Bloodsport, all those like Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Kickboxer.
Yeah.
And then Schwarzenegger, of course, Rocky, Sylvester Stallone. Like
Yeah,
those
Bruce Willis,
that
too.
era,
Yeah.
Bruce Willis, that era of movie. Like I wish they would come back. Like John Wick is as close as we get to like that era when everything was just ubiquitous with the
How about the
crazy
Equalizer?
action.
Yeah.
Denzel
Denzel Washington's
man, the Equalizer
is pretty
3
good.
is
I didn't
excellent.
expect to love that as much as I did, but I loved all three of
Yeah.
them.
You know,
It's funny
started
that you
watching-
mentioned that. I bought it on 4K Blu-ray, sight unseen. Hadn't even like someone mentioned it. I watched a couple of kind of 4K Blu-ray reviewers, and they were just going on about how good Expendable Equalizer 3 was. I just bought it. I'm like, all right, and it was the most fun I've had watching a movie for a while.
Very cool.
Nobody says the Expendables are good.
We all
But
know
that's
they're not.
isn't that
Yeah.
everybody from that you just mentioned?
That's
all
right.
in one
Everybody
movie?
from
Yeah,
the
it's all
90s.
together.
Yeah,
They
they're
couldn't-
they're with their walkers and everything.
just couldn't recapture.
And I
the
started
magic.
watching True Lies on the plane today to try to remember some of the scenes, and I think that may be the greatest action comedy ever.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we'll ever, like you're saying, I don't know if we'll get back to that kind of cinema or not, but I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
Well, I had watched the most recent episode of Shogun, and I have really gotten into it. I thought it started a little bit slow, but it seems to like every other episode, it's raining for half the episodes. And with my elevation height speakers, like it's just brings you into it so much more because I think they use the weather to sort of like create mood. Set the mood in a very realistic way. And then there's some sword play as well, which I think really brings out the tweeters and some of the high frequency response. So I've just been enjoying sort of learning about the culture, and the subtitles don't bother me at all. Like I'm not usually somebody who can pay attention with subtitles, but the way that I think their language works, they're slower, so you can kind of absorb what's happening on screen and still have a chance to read all of the different tracks. So I won't throw any spoilers out there. I promise I won't ruin it there, BJ Feast, but I'm really enjoying it and I highly recommend it.
That's a good chop suey.
And Shogun is on FX Hulu, so I saw somebody was asking about that. So have you watched anything, Gary?
I mean, I was actually going to talk about Shogun because my wife and I had a deal that this was going to be our show and we're going to watch it together. But I got so addicted, I'm like, I'm cheating. I can't help it. It's so good. I love it. And if you're old enough to remember the original miniseries, it had basically a soap opera star in the main role. He was kind of lame in it. And then they had one of the great actors of his generation from anywhere, Toshiro Mifune, who was in all these famous Akira Kurosawa Japanese movies, and that was like his last big role. He played the Shogun guy. So this guy's actually very good who does it, but I think the show is incredibly well done. But for me, my content has all been live. I've seen multiple live concerts, including I saw the Sasanta tour, which is Maynard James Keenan's 60th birthday tour, where he's literally singing with 3 bands. They do 3 songs, one band, 3 songs, another band, 3 songs, another band, then they come back. It was really quite amazing for 3 hours. And then Nick and I are going to be together at Yo-Yo Ma. And Nick, I can't promise, but I made a request for you and Alex might get a chance to meet him. I have put the request in. So we'll see.
Nice.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, you guys are ditching us to go hang out with Yo-Yo Ma. So
I know if you're coming to Axpona and you want to see Gary and I, you got to do it either tomorrow or Saturday because we are going to see Yo-Yo Ma on Sunday. It's a once in a lifetime thing. So we will be here the next 2 days. Please come and see us and don't, throw shade on us because we won't be here Sunday because I would love to be here, but we'll certainly be here in spirit.
You've seen Godzilla
X-Con?
No, it was the Japanese one.
Godzilla -1.
That's it. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
I have not seen that.
Yeah, I went to the theater.
Fantastic.
Dude, it was like 14 million or something like that. It was amazing to see what they can do with actually good story and people that are passionate about making movies is excellent.
Well, let's do a giveaway here. If you guys don't mind, we're actually about 5 minutes overdue. Our first giveaway is going. You're gonna head out?
Yeah, I'm gonna head out.
Always a pleasure. We'll see you later. We'll actually get to play these
Good
for you.
morning.
And Cheap Audio Man might be getting in some Ultra Evolution speakers for review sooner than later. We'll have to see.
Maybe.
Thank you as always.
Good.
Pleasure. Enjoy the show. All right, first giveaway of the evening is a pair of our Prime Wireless Pro powered bookshelf speakers. And the winner of that is one of my favorite names. That would be Larry Babcock. Larry Babcock
Sweet.
is the winner.
Congrats, other Larry.
Prime Wireless Pro powered bookshelf speaker. So we do have another guest sitting in the waiting room. I don't know if you want to answer a couple questions first, and then I'll bring in our next special guest. Who's also here in
fun. I feel like I'm at a party.
Bring him in. All right. DJ, get ready. Here we go.
I literally feel like I crashed a party.
Hey, I can put
I mean, you kind of
different
did, but you're
lights
part
on
of
Gary,
it, so
too.
you can totally do it. So this is one of my favorite podcasters who talks all. Oh, I'm getting.
Oh, there we go.
Echo. All right, there it is.
Oh.
There it is.
Yeah, Mikey, you got to get in
his name-
tight.
Gotta get in frame.
Yeah. Hey, guys.
His name's DJ. He heads up.
I like his shirt. I like his shirt.
Where's the echo? Where's the echo coming from?
There we go.
That's
Probably.
their end. If you have two devices open.
All right.
No.
All right. Now we're good. Okay, we're good. Now I can.
Yeah, because I turned it down. Oh, I know why.
He is
Keep-
DJ from the Brightside Home Theater podcast. He's been with us once or twice before. We've been on his program. Dude is as passionate about movies, cinema, and especially the audio side of it as anyone I've ever met. And hopefully they can figure this part out. I can mute you guys too, just to figure this out.
I got it.
All right. I think we're good. DJ, how you doing, man? And I
I'm
see you
doing
got
great.
your, got Mike back there, the best dressed here in Illinois this fine
Very well
weekend. How you
dressed.
guys doing?
Great. I'm at Mike's house.
It's my happy hour outfit, and I just didn't bring it on the plane.
Yeah.
Can
So
you come
that
over-
looks
can you
like a
come
pretty
under your
killer
shirt?
little home theater setup you got down there, Mike. Is
Yes,
let me
thank
see
you.
movie posters in the background?
It's pretty much SVS Ultras across the
I'm
front.
liking what I'm seeing even more now.
Yeah, there you go.
Very cool.
SVS Ultras across the front, satellites around the rear, and he has them in the ceiling as well.
So
Well,
DJ, will
what-
you be
Yep,
doing any broadcasting or interviews or anything from the show here? Or are you just going to kind of get back home and then recap your experience?
I'm not sure. I'm going to try to do a couple of things tomorrow. I was going to check with you and see what you had for time. But I might do a couple of live things just to show people what's going on there and everything. Your room's amazing. It looks even better now that it's set up. I saw you this morning. But
Yeah, you came when we were, unboxing and in a little bit of disarray, but it always comes together in such a beautiful way, and especially when you start listening to it. But yeah, the unboxing part is like the least sexy part of a trade show. But you know what? It has to happen in order to get it to this point. So
I
it
love
was
the
awesome
behind
seeing
the
you this morning.
scenes stuff. Gary,
really
nice
sorry
to
I
meet
missed
you.
that.
Larry, great.
Yeah, Gary just said he's sorry he missed that. So we know how much he loved unboxing with us and setting up.
Yes, I know. Well, I have to say real quick, there were some issues getting the YouTube set up earlier. We had a little stream, but it's fine now. So hopefully everyone is good to go. We did get some of the comments from one of my other colleagues, so you're all eligible for the giveaways too. So we're good to go with YouTube. I see the comments coming fast and furious. So thank you for your patience there. We're up and running. So DJ, let me tell you, is there anything specifically you came here to really check out outside of SVS as far as education or new, audio components, things like that?
Outside of SVS, I saw the
There's nothing
evolution.
else here. It's just us.
Yeah. And I gotta tell you, anybody that's out here, when you see those evolutions in person, I saw those are the Titans that are behind Nick right now, and then in the
Those are
next
the
room,
pinnacles. Those are the flagships.
you moved the pinnacles in there, or are you
No,
in the
this is
2-channel room right now?
Yeah, I'm a 2-channel.
okay.
Larry's in the home
All
theater,
right.
yeah.
And the I was blown away. They're just gorgeous in person, but I'm really just going to be walking around, just this is my first time at Axpona, so I'm just really walking around trying to get, see what's what and watch some people and talk to some people and just have some fun, really. I have no expectations other than what I want to hear in that room right there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I tell
and,
anybody.
for those who don't know, you go ahead, Larry.
Oh. All right. So I was going to say, I tell anybody I run into that if you want to go to a show and experience a lot of audio, a lot of good people, Axpona is probably the one to go to. And then the Florida Audio Show behind that's another great one. Then M-Wave in Kansas City too. So we're going to do all of them.
You mentioned great people, so I had to turn and show all the people that are with me. We got right back here in the gray. I have to say it's Johnny Speakers. With a name like that, I had to bring him into the camera shot.
How you doing, guys?
Johnny Speakers, welcome to the Audiophile Happy Hour. Welcome to have you.
Yeah,
And he sells microwaves.
Axpona. Yep.
So DJ, I know you're heavily involved in your own home theater build out right now. You know, why don't you give us a quick little update on how that's going and some of the special things you got going on with that?
Well, aside from the whole house, the theater itself, I have 2 official walls that are up. Very excited about that, and just trying to problem solve and maximize to get the most out of my room, but for space and also to keep it separate so that I can just crank the speakers and not vibrate everybody out of my house.
The framing of it is actually done in such a way where it's like acoustically separate from the rest of the house. What exactly was what was involved in that?
The only thing that it's going to be touching is the floor. Every wall in the room is separate from the rest of the house.
Yeah, very cool.
So that it's in the basement, so it's sitting, obviously you have to sit on the floor, but even my ceiling is engineered in a way that I've put the floor joists is above, and then the ceiling joists are staggered. So I'm maximizing my height, but I'm still separate from each room. So that's what I've been, usually on my channel, I talk about my experiences, like watching movies and stuff, Larry. And for like the last months, guys, I've been like, oh, I put up these boards today. It's like building a theater.
Here's some more 2x4s.
Yeah, exactly.
Fun stuff coming soon.
Yeah. So a lot of fun, but I can't wait to get it done.
Well, I know you got a crew over there, but I knew you're always great for some content recommendations because you're about as savvy as anyone when it comes to cinema and home theater. So why don't you either give us some deep tracks or something more recent that you've been into that our community can get a kick out of?
I gotta go with, and have you talked about Daredevil? Not the movie.
No.
The show on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's like staged in the 50s, right? It's from like the
Daredevil, the Netflix Marvel series.
Yeah, it started on Netflix, then it went or Disney, and now it's on Netflix.
On Disney Plus now, but it's the original. And I just did a complete rewatch of it, and I just finished season 2. But there's an episode 5 when they walk around the taxi, and I don't have a timestamp on the top of my head right now. I want to say it's like 7 minutes, maybe something like that. But anyway, there's a walk around the taxi where you hear the people walking around your room and talking about if your speakers are voice matched correctly, it's an amazing experience all the way around your room. And that's season 1, episode 5. It's only in 5.1, but when we upmix it with our stuff, it's awesome stuff. And it's in the opening of that. If you got Disney Plus, go on Disney Plus, Larry, right? Pull it up, and just the opening of it and the whooshes that go on behind you in the back of the room, it's awesome. For something that came out in 2015, there's so much great content in there.
Yeah, and the coolest one-shot fight sequence maybe ever done in the hallway there. I think it's like the 4th episode. So,
in season 1. Yeah. And then they went on for it's not as much. They did one in season 2, and then there's a big one, and I think it was the hospital in season 3. And same thing. It's just they do that one shot. But that fight scene in the hallway was really cool in season 1 because you can hear them go off camera. And they're fighting in a room, but it's off outside of your room, and it sounds awesome. Great pans there.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun.
There you go, validation right there for you.
Yeah.
So, what's the latest piece of physical media you've bought?
Physical.
It sounds like a town in New Jersey.
The Raid I bought, I still haven't watched yet. I'm buying stuff all the time.
Did you get the Abyss? Larry's been looking for the Abyss. I think one of your crew got it.
Yeah, I bought that. I got it on my Kaleidoscape back in December. Love it. The Abyss, True Lies, Aliens, Titanic was awesome. All the Camerons, I don't care what people say. Steve and I talked about it on the channel the other day. I love the transfers. They sound amazing, and they look really good. They look better than they ever have. Are they the best ever? No, but they look better than they ever have. And the sound is awesome. Cameron does an awesome job with the sound.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard is Dune 2 looks like it's available for pre-order.
Yeah.
That seems like one that will.
And it's hitting
be
streaming,
making it on
I
the
think,
shelf.
next week or this week. Yeah.
Dune
Yeah.
2 is?
Yeah.
Oh,
I just saw
I haven't
comments
seen the
somebody
news on
pre-ordered
that.
it
I
on
should be getting that soon.
So
Yeah.
cool. Well,
Cool.
DJ, we know we're going to see you this week. I really appreciate. Oh, did you have
See you
one more
tomorrow.
recommendation?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Good luck with the home theater build out. Thank you to you and for Mike for hosting you. We look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. We'll use some of those demos here on some of our future shows. But keep up that podcast. It's one of the most entertaining. It's the Bright Side Home Theater Podcast. You'll learn more than you ever could expect about movies and home theater sound. It's sort of the convergence of the two, which I love the content and the tech. It's such a good fit. So thanks to you for doing all the good stuff you're doing.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Nick.
DJ.
Thanks, Larry. Thanks,
All
Gary.
right.
Have a great night. Later, guys.
You.
All right. Well, I think we should take some questions. I think it's we
Agreed.
did a lot of talking here about some content that we've been into. And why don't we jump right into a subwoofer question from Lawrence C. He wants to know how much of a difference there is between a cylinder subwoofer and the standard box subwoofer.
Okay, well, SVS, we have 3 different configurations of subwoofers. We have sealed, which we always talk about. Sealed subwoofers are known for being maybe a bit quicker, a bit more accurate and musical, but they don't play as loud and don't go as deep. And then ported subwoofers, which are capable of really deep bass extension and thunderously loud output. But I will say, and I've said this, for years now, SVS, we have worked really hard to narrow the delta between sealed and ported. So our sealed subwoofers go really deep and they play really loud. Anyone who has one can prove it to themselves and their neighbors anytime they want to. And our ported subwoofers are accurate and musical in ways that other ported subwoofers simply are not. So we've narrowed the delta. Now, what is the difference between a ported cabinet subwoofer and a cylinder subwoofer? Essentially, there's no difference. A cylinder subwoofer, we basically use the cylinder format to verticalize the same cabinet volume that you get in a ported cabinet, only kind of bring it upwards so that it's a 16-inch floor footprint, but up 4 feet tall and round. It's a very particular thing. No one else does it because no one else really knows how to do it. It's not what I would call a massive, giant part of our business, but we're the only ones who do it. So for the question, what's better for me, a ported subwoofer, cabinet, or cylinder? That's totally personal choice, but the difference in performance should be basically indistinguishable.
Yeah. And I have a cylinder in my living room. And part of the reason we did it is it's the worst room in the world you can put a theater in. It's tile, it's open to a kitchen and dining room. There's no real walls. And my TV sits in a corner. And we have the PC 2000 Pro that sits behind the TV stand, behind a TV. You don't even know what's in the room until you hear it shaking the house or knocking you on your butt. And so there are opportunities there to put our cylindrical subs where you can't put the conventional boxed subwoofers. Because if you look at our larger subs, they can be 2 feet, 3 feet deep in some cases. And these are about the same footprint as like a speaker we have behind us. They're 16 inches in diameter.
And I want to see, I'm watching the comments fly by. In case you wonder whether we read the comments, I always try to, although you guys are so active that sometimes it's hard to keep up with them. One person asked.
We don't want dead air.
Sorry?
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, one person asked, why are there not more resonances in a cylinder? And the reason is the most perfect way to orient a cabinet is in a circle, because all the pressure from inside the cabinet is applied equally to every surface. So for that reason, we don't need to have a heavy, 1 inch thick MDF cabinet. Instead, it's a more light cabinet in a cylinder format, but the circular configuration allows the pressure to basically hit every part of the subwoofer in the subwoofer cabinet in the same place. And that's why our cylinders sound essentially the same as a massive ported cabinet.
Very cool.
Good
well,
question.
We do owe another.
Your question flew by so quickly I couldn't say your name, but it was a good question.
So next giveaway we have is a SB1000 Pro subwoofer, a sealed cabinet, and the winner of our SB1000 Pro is John DeLuce. John DeLuce, congratulations!
Congratulations.
Sub. All right, I've seen this question, a lot of variations of it during our broadcast this last week, and then I've seen it pop up a couple times this week. And Jason E asks it sort of in an open-ended way. He wants to know if our Prime Wireless Pro sound base is a suitable amp to power the new Ultra Evolution series. And I mean, I'll let you address that, but I've seen a lot of people ask,
well, Nick, you were at CES, you witnessed it, so.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I saw it running the Titans. Go ahead, Larry.
We're all so excited about this. We're talking over each other. Sorry about that.
And there's a little delay because we're all on network here. But yeah, we use the Soundbase Pro to power the Titans at CES. They would totally push any product in the line and really any speaker you want to put in front of them.
They were filling a 2 million square foot cavernous convention facility, and they did a really good job. Because every time we cranked it up, Nick can testify. And Larry was in the home theater room, so you didn't get to see as much of it as he would have liked to. But Nick can testify. Every time we cranked them up with that sound base in this massive cavernous facility, we'd get a crowd of 20 or 30 people that were just sort of like, holy cow, how is this even happening in a place this big?
Yeah, it's kind of unassuming given its size. So, it's 300 watts, 150 watts by 2. It's a Class D digital amplifier. So there's more than enough power to really anything you've got in your home, it's going to power. And with all the connectivity, it's a very, surprising system that you get from it too.
And we are running the Ultra Evolution bookshelves off the Soundbase Pro here in our 2-channel room, but we did run the Ultra Evolution Pinnacles off of a Cambridge and an Emotiva, because they will benefit if you give them more power. Like, let's not say that the Pro Soundbase is the ultimate end-all component. It certainly does a very, very good job, but we wanted to have 2 separate systems to kind of showcase, what's possible, and that's why we went with the preamp amplifier combo with the Ultra Evolution Pinnacles, because again, it's just going to make them sound.
Just to say, I don't want to make it sound like we have some super high-end setup. It's what I would call affordable audiophile, just to clarify. But good stuff.
I think both of them are about $1,000. The 2 front end pieces we have, the amp and preamp. So by the standards of I think across the room, it's about a $750,000 system. This would be considered certainly on the less expensive side by those standards.
Robert is asking.
Right.
Robert is asking, am I going to bring my Mark Levinson amp to one of these? We've actually talked about it because I have the Mark Levinson 300 watt per channel power amp. I have a truly classic Mark Levinson preamp, the number 26. Anybody check it out? It's very hard to get. You can't even find it on the used market. And I have a beautiful Lin turntable with Koetsu cartridge. So one of these days, I'm going to bring to one of these shows a super high-end setup just to show how our speakers don't need it. They sound great with mid-fi, but they absolutely sing if they have the quality of ancillary gear that is possible.
So this is a good question from Kyle H., not product related, but he wants to know if SVS has a house service for visits to help with setups. And we have the next best thing. First of all, you can always check with our retailers. We have a dealer locator on our site, and they're all around the country and the world. So you can find somebody who can help you out that way. But we also do in-home video consultations where Ed Mullen, who's normally a part of our broadcast here, will literally have eyes into your home theater or your hi-fi system and be able to look at the different settings on your receiver or, the back panels of your components or even the placement of your speakers and give you basically the same level of service that you would get from somebody in your home. Oh, and by the way, it doesn't cost you anything. So if you do have some sort of technical troubleshooting you want to do, or even just recommendations as you're starting to build your system, take advantage of that. You just drop an email to our support team, let them know I want to do a video consult, and we'll get that set up. And it's just very similar to a Zoom, but two-way, and we can actually send graphs back and forth and different documents if that helps as well. So check that out, Kyle, if that would be helpful in your journey. So John T has a question.
We also do have dealers. I mean, this is one of the reasons we did.
I started with them.
Right, and you did, and I'm not trying to. I guess I'm not, pitching that so much. But when we started our journey, SVS was essentially 100%, internet direct, and that was fine. But it only appealed to the people that feel super confident doing it themselves and understand how to check user reviews and things like that and make their decision. And we found that some people, prefer to use a dealer and get the advice and get the expertise and maybe have somebody come over to their house and set it up and install it. And we just want to be able to, be there to engage with anyone who wants to engage with us any way they want to.
Yeah, and we always say our stuff always needs other stuff to make it work. So, you're going to be walking into a store to pick up our gear. That's where you're going to get your TV, receiver, some of those other things. And, we are very selective with who our partners are. And part of it is because we want to make sure they can come out and do the installation, do the service, be there. And we'll still be there to geek out with you on the front end in regards to your knowledge search. And also as a support on the other side too, like Nick was saying, you can contact our sound experts and we can be there on the phone or video with your installer at that time too.
So somebody asked, do we have anyone in Vancouver? We just added a chain that's all over British Columbia, so check it out. Our Canada business has been exploding, so I hope for our Canadian friends who are joining the happy hour, check out who's carrying it. Your local dealer who may not have had it last year probably has it now.
Yeah, just did training with them.
And that's right, Larry just trained them. And they loved Larry's training. They didn't mind his American accent. And the other thing I was going to say is, to Larry's point, we're very, very careful about who gets to represent SVS. I can literally say either I or Larry or Ken, who you guys may have seen in the store events we do, have met the dealer and know them, and we interact with them. We don't just, and I don't think any top range audio company can say that they literally know every one of their dealers. We do, and we will not transact. We will not partner with anyone who doesn't represent our values.
So we have a bit of a conflict here from John T. He has a small room and he wants to know if he gets.
He needs to fill it with speakers and subwoofers.
Yeah.
Well, this is part of his conundrum. If he gets the Ultra Evolution bookshelf, will he end up crying, in his own words, because he would have been better off with the smaller Ultra Evolution tower, the most compact tower that we have? And I guess that really the question is, what are you going to notice acoustically by going from the Ultra Evolution bookshelf to that the compact Ultra Evolution tower? I call it compact, but it's just the smallest of the three that we offer.
I mean, I have to say, we had the Ultra Evolution. I don't want to do, because he could get the bookshelf today, but I have to say that we spent, and the reason the Ultra Evolution tower, which is the smallest of the three, is not available today is because we spent so much time working to make it sound pretty much almost indistinguishable from the Ultra Evolution Titan and the Ultra Evolution Pinnacle. It's voiced very similarly. It has a shocking amount of dynamics and authority in the bass, and it has the exact same diamond-coated tweeter and acoustically centered time alignment. So if he's got room in his budget and his room, he would be. I think the Ultra Evolution Tower is an absolutely brilliant speaker. I will say, because I have Ultra Evolution bookshelf in my home, I spent most of the time with the Ultra Evolution Pinnacle towers, but the Ultra Evolution bookshelf has really snuck up on me. It really is a wonderful, very capable speaker. We have it in our living room, so I think I said this on a previous show, so sorry if you're hearing it for a second time, but it's the kind of place where my family and I will hang out, we'll be cooking, we'll be talking, and the speaker is playing not so much background music, but music, and we're not always 100% paying attention to it. But every couple of minutes, it kind of grabs your attention with how good it is and how great the music sounds on it. And I'm not just I observe that, but other members of the family that may not be as focused on speakers as I am.
And the other thing you have to take into account with towers versus bookshelves is, I've got dogs, so I can never do bookshelves on stands. That's just a non-starter. Also, a tower is sometimes easier to place because you're not having to worry about, kids, dogs, pets, things like that. And there is more range to it, but a bookshelf will benefit you also, because it can be easier to place because, you can put it on a bookshelf as it's stated in its name, or tuck it in a corner where maybe a tower wouldn't go to.
And I will preface this by saying that I would never dissuade you from getting a subwoofer because they're only going to add goodness. But if it's a small room and you do want a little bit deeper low frequency extension, a little more output in those lower octaves, a tower speaker is going to get you there if you were deciding to forego a subwoofer. But, obviously if you can have one, add one. But
for the cost of the towers, if you look at the cost of the towers versus a bookshelf with a sub, that could be an alternate option there as well.
Exactly. So here's a question from David C. We talked a little bit about this last week, but he's curious how our diamond-coated tweeter compares to a folded ribbon tweeter. I think we talked about beryllium a little bit last week and some of the other materials, but just, what are the comments we can make in terms of why we chose that and how they're a little bit different?
Well, I mean, a ribbon speaker is very different than a dome speaker. So, some of that, like beryllium is a dome speaker. So it's easy for me to talk about soft dome, metal dome, our diamond coated dome. And by the way, we used a bunch of different alternatives to diamond coating before we arrived at the diamond coating. As far as a folded ribbon, I don't diss anything. I guess it's a matter of personal preference. I prefer the acoustic properties of a very well engineered dome. I was a bit of a fan of the beryllium domes, but they don't do as well with power handling, and they tend to degrade over time, which is why we decided to do the diamond coated tweeter, which is capable of really outstanding output, but still effortless high frequencies, refined and accurate. And its breakup frequency, which is where it distorts, is so far beyond what's audible, for nearly 40,000 hertz. That's just a really great tweeter. A folded ribbon, listen, to your taste. It just doesn't resonate with me. Probably a bad word for a speaker guy. The way that our diamond coated tweeter does.
And that's kind of been my whole life. Every speaker I've owned, even prior to SVS, were dome style tweeters, and I think it's just been easier on my ears. It's more accustomed to what I'm familiar with. Horns and ribbons are not something that I've been able to sit in front of for prolonged periods of time either.
So Phil
that's comments. Somebody is commenting that ribbons are trickier to set up, and that is absolutely true. And the reason is because their dispersion characteristics are fussier. I mean, in other words, a dome's dispersion characteristics are usually much more forgiving of where you are in the room. Yeah. A folded ribbon is typically going to have dispersion characteristics that favor one place or another in terms of the listening position.
Yeah, so you really have to go to some extreme toe in some cases with a horn or a ribbon versus a dome being a little more easy to place and not necessarily have to be towed into some extremities.
Question, is the diamond coating long lasting, or does it need recoating? No. It's the vapor deposition makes the diamond coating essentially. It's married to that tweeter. It's completely part of the diaphragm of the tweeter, which is the part that moves.
And if you want to kind of geek out on some of this, if you go to our website and look up some of the products, you'll see that there's some really awesome descriptions and images of the diamond coated tweeter and the new drivers and everything else that's inside the new Evolution line too.
So moving to Prime Wireless Pro real quick, Phil T had a question. He had read the most recent Sound and Vision review of the Prime Wireless Pro sound base. And he wants to know, what is critical listening mode? It was mentioned in there. What is this and why does it matter?
What a good question. And I'm sorry if they didn't explain what it is, they should have. But critical listening mode is essentially what you flip that switch. And the first thing I would do when I'm setting up my Play-Fi with Prime Wireless Pro, whether it's the speakers or the sound base or multiple sound bases is enable critical listening mode. And critical listening mode allows for high res audio to be sent over Wi-Fi. That's all it is. Now, if you have a bunch of different zones, like in other words, you have like say 6 Soundbase Pros and you have a pair of Prime Wireless Pro speakers. If you're using multiple ones at the same time in order to protect your Wi-Fi's bandwidth, critical listening mode will automatically not be on, and you'll be hearing CD quality instead of high res. But when you're just listening to one of your zones, you automatically hear high res audio over Wi-Fi, as long as the streaming service or other content you're using is high res.
Yeah. So if you're like on Tidal or Qobuz or Amazon Music HD that do 24-bit 192 kilohertz audio, that's essentially where the critical listening comes into play.
So I think we have time for one or two more.
People are asking about critical listening mode. This is a feature of the Play-Fi platform that we use with Prime Wireless Pro.
Yeah, it's the best quality listening you can do through either one of our Prime Wireless Pro products.
It's one of the few ways anyone can do high-res audio over Wi-Fi. Many companies claim it, but in most cases, it's not true. We do high-res audio over Wi-Fi.
So here's one I can answer. Pete's son asks, any tips for cleaning the piano gloss black finish? And that's a great question, because at these trade shows, people love to come up and touch the speakers. And by 3 hours into the show, they're just coated in fingerprints. So the first thing you want to do is, if you have some like air in a can, something that will remove any sort of dust or detritus, use that first to blow off anything that could leave scratches. Then you get yourself a lint-free cloth. And if you have glass cleaner, make sure it's ammonia-free glass cleaner, because ammonia can actually cause some streaking and other more harmful issues with your piano gloss finish. And just, put a little bit on that lint-free cloth and smooth, nice single direction motions until you get it to the shine that you want. But that's how we do it here at the trade shows, and how we do it at home. So just make sure you get anything that could cause scratching off first. Little ammonia-free glass cleaner, even Armor All can work, and put it on a lint-free cloth, and you're in business.
And I see somebody asking if we're going to make ceiling speakers too. And the Ultra Elevations and Prime Elevations are both ceiling mountable. So I saw that question come across. Just want to make sure that you're aware of that.
Hey, another Nick B out there just shared a factoid that vapor deposition is such a cool technology, and it's actually the reason why we have blue LEDs. Vapor deposition is actually used in some other AV technologies as well, so that's a pretty cool little factoid there. Awesome. We see some of your questions. We're going to save them for our next broadcast, which will be in about 3 weeks. We have a double header broadcast with some of our partners that will be coming up here in a couple weeks. So we'll share some details on that in the near future. I do want to say a very special thank you to DJ from the Bright Side Home Theater podcast. Definitely check it out if you're a movie buff and into home theater sound. And then also Randy, the Cheap Audio Man, who does probably the most entertaining and also insightful reviews of audio products that most general people can actually afford in their home. So definitely worth checking out Cheap Audio Man as well if you haven't already. We're going to be here at Axpona for the entire weekend, rooms 1444 and 1442. So I encourage you all to come by and share some.
That's in Schaumburg, Illinois.
Yeah. That's right, Schaumburg, Illinois. And we do have one final giveaway for the evening, which is a 3000 micro subwoofer. And our winner of the 3000 micro is Alex Sabatini. Alex Sabatini, you got yourself a
Alex. Congratulations.
To add to your hi-fi system. So, gentlemen, anything to throw out there before we adjourn for the evening?
Yeah, I hope to see as many of you as are in the Chicagoland area, or if Chicago is convenient. Hope to see you guys tomorrow and the next day. We're really looking forward to. This is the biggest audio show in North America, so we're excited to be here, and even more excited to be with the SVS community today.
And we love when you come and tell us that you tune in. And if you have demo tracks or anything that you think would be of interest, we're always building playlists. So just engage with us. We're happy to.
And wear your SVS shirt.
That's right. Wear your SVS shirt. You'll be the best dressed. Absolutely. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in.
Thanks,
Appreciate
everybody.
it. We'll be back in a few weeks. Happy listening all.
Bye, everybody.